Hey, this is ThinkerThunker. And this video was posted on my Team ThinkerThunker Facebook group by one of my top contributors, Angie S. Way to go, Angie. Thank you. Keep them coming. The video is titled Bigfoot on Camera Cliff Jumping. I always love it when they add on camera as if maybe this was done by like a sketch artist who was out there or something. Anyway, let's go check it out. I kept following that link until it led me here on YouTube to Squatch Watchers. Give them a subscribe and a like. And this video, they don't say who, what, where, when, why. There is zero information here. It's just lumped in with a bunch of other videos. Let's have a look at this Bigfoot cliff jumping. All right, that's about all we get. They added in that kind of creepy music or whatever you want to call it. I would have preferred to hear the original audio, even if it was nothing, you know, just in case there was something there we might could have used. So we have no information on this, and it's a big blurry blob. However, I found something pretty amazing about it. So let's go check it out. Okay, so first question. Look at this. Look at this sheer cliff right here. You know what, 30, 60 feet. Who knows how much further down it goes. And it could be like that on the other side where it's jumping. We don't know. We can't see. But let me ask you this. Would you be out there in a bulky monkey suit and wearing a big, thick, furry mask, jumping with sheer drop-offs like that? I mean, that seems like it's practically suicide, or at the very least, incredibly dangerous. Okay, so now let's see if we can get a better look at this jump. And so what I've done, I've stabilized the footage. Let me go backwards some. And I've lightened it a bit. So here we go. It's just beginning. It's stepping out of the trees. And it jumps down. So what I did, I just dropped this a little blue line in right there so that we could see where it starts. And it just hops down. And it stuck the landing. And by the way, that's clinging onto that rock for dear life, it seems to be pretty happy to have made it across. Could that just be somebody acting? Of course. But for all we know, it just jumped over, you know, a 300-foot drop off. Now, it doesn't look that it dropped down very far or that it went very far. However, the jump could be going away from the camera because, look, it appears to be sideways here. And then when it jumps and lands, it appears that we can only see its backside. Okay, so now time for the question. Are those human or non-human body proportions? Now, some of you cry foul when I measure a blurry, blobby figure like this, as if you live in a world where all Bigfoot footage is pristine and clear. And to prove those few of you wrong, I have a half-naked superstar athlete here who I have blurred and blobbed out. And let's see, first hint, he was notorious, or is, for smoking a lot of pot. And I think he has about 23 Olympic gold medals. You got him yet? It is Michael Phelps. And I am going with Mr. Phelps for our proportional DNA human model today because look at this picture. A lot of you have been after me to measure his body because you believe he has an inhumanly long torso and inhumanly long arms. So we are going to put that to the test too. Okay, so how do you measure a blurry blob with any degree of accuracy? Well, we've all seen humans before, so we're going to use a little common sense, which must mean that this block up here on top is its head, something about like that. And look, we see appendages, and we see they are bent. So somewhere right around in here has got to be an elbow, and the same down here for the leg. That's got to be where the knee is, which must mean we've got a shoulder somewhere right around here. So the upper arm is probably about that long, something about like that. And the forearm is that length again, right there, something about like that. And the torso would come down to about right here, which means this is the thigh, something about like that. And coming down below the knee, we've obviously got the shin, and this long thing on the bottom, it's got to be the foot. So let's test this and see how it goes. Look at that. I was within, say, 1% of nailing where a blurry Michael Phelps arms and legs are. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And here are Mr. Phelps' measurement bars. 5 measurement bars, torso, upper arm, forearm, thigh, and shin. And now I've moved, or I've made a copy of all those bars, moved them down here to the right so that we can see his body proportions away from his body to get a sense of how everything lines up. And we see that Mr. Phelps has a torso and arms the same relative length, with legs an astounding 30% longer. So here is the big comparison. Drum roll, please. There are all of mankind's body proportions, and we see that Mr. Phelps matches you and me and all normal, typical, functioning adult humans perfectly. So it's just an optical illusion. And if you wore a Speedo all the time, your torso would look long too. That's all it is. But look at Mr. Phelps and all humans compared to Green Team over here on the far right. Look how radically different Patty and Forrest Giant body proportions are. So now the big question, Cliff Jumper, is it going to match Green Team or Red Team? And so now I've got to select the very best frame that shows the most of its body at any one time. And watch right here. See, we see its front leg. Its foot is up off the ground, just about to land. If I go one more frame, there. That step shows foot to knee all the way up to top of its head. We can't really see its arms, but that's okay. I don't have to have them. But watch if I keep moving forward. Look at that bulk. I mean, most of it's been hidden behind a tree, but when it steps out, that is like Patty bulk right there, whatever this is. All right, so now I've dropped a 3D skeleton on, and I'm posing it as close as I can get it. This back leg, we can't really see it, so it doesn't really matter. So this is the leg right there. We saw that foot that was up. So there we've got the bend in the leg, and I'm going with that. Okay, so before we wrap this up, and I show you 100% for sure what the Cliff Jumper is, I wanted to give you a quick update and let you know what the general public thinks about my proportional DNA. Right, you patrons and my YouTube members, you guys have been watching me do demonstrations for over a year now, and say 400 or 500 of you have now bought my book. You guys get it. I mean, all y'all need to see is this chart over here on the left, and you already know for yourself 100% for sure what the Cliff Jumper is. That's incredible. But the general public has only seen me demonstrate proportional DNA one time. In this one video, it's called Bigfoot is Real, Simple Scientific Proof, Seriously. And you can see down here at the bottom, I posted it over 2 months ago. And here's the good news I wanted to report back to you. You can see down at the bottom, over 72,000 people have now watched this video, and it has a 97.8 positive favorability ranking. That means that almost 98% of 72,000 highly skeptical, highly critical people have watched me claim that I have discovered simple scientific proof of forest giants, and they're like, yep, I get it, this works. And that is incredible. I mean, we have done it. I mean, there has been zero public pushback against PDNA. apart from literally 3 different guys, 2 of which grumble and say, look, man, science has been measuring body proportions forever. So what you're doing here, this is nothing new. And to that, I would say, has science ever measured Patty and her body proportions, compared them to a human, and then come forward to prove to the world that Patty is a non-human and that Bigfoot is real? And the answer to that is no. Scientists has had over half a century to do that, and nothing from science ever. So the fact that science has been measuring body proportions forever and yet never put 2 and 2 together and figured this out, that's actually a slap in the face against science and not a strike against me and PDNA. And the only other thing was a guy on Facebook the other day, he was grumbling, going, yeah, well, if 5 different guys measure this, you're going to get 5 different results. And as if because this requires a little skill to measure and get this right, then it's no good. I mean, that means everybody from, say, a fry cook or a ditch digger to a heart surgeon, what you do is no good. It's not right because it requires skill, because it's hard. I mean, that has to be one of the most ridiculous arguments against anything I have ever heard. So I consider it a compliment that people are going to such great lengths and saying such ridiculous things as arguments against PDNA. So I want to thank all my patrons and members, because you have helped me present this to the public. You have supported me and made this possible. And I would say that proportional DNA has now been an overwhelming success with the general public. Thank you. All right, here we go. Final comparison. Time to see if Cliff Jumper's body proportions match up with Michael Phelps and the rest of mankind, or does it match up with Green Team and Patty and Forest Shot Kind? And sorry, ladies, got to get rid of Mr. Speedo there, Mr. Gold Medal, and I'm going to pull his PDNA chart over here. Now let me zoom in on everybody just a little. All right, over here on the far right, I'm about to drop in Cliff Jumper's results. Here we go. Bam. Do Cliff Jumper's body proportions more closely resemble Green Team, the Patterson Bigfoot, or all of mankind? Now, I'm guessing it took you all of about a fraction of a second to see that human body proportions and Green Team over here, Cliff Jumper's body proportions, are radically, profoundly different. And that is the secret sauce behind my PDNA system. It's not just about measuring. It's about these graphical measurement bars and then putting them into charts like this and then doing the comparison, the final comparison phase, and letting all humans see at a glance that Green Team over here, Cliff Jumper, his body proportions are radically different from human body proportions. And that's what the gentleman from Facebook that I was telling you about a second ago, that's what he and others don't seem to grasp. I don't think they understand simple proportions and ratios and percentages. Looking over here at humans, our legs are an astounding 30% longer than our torso and arms. There's not another species on the planet that has body ratios like this. Patty and now the Cliff Jumper have legs that are 0% longer than their torso and arms. So 30% longer is different from 0% longer. And it's not just a little different, it is profoundly different. So when you guys try to nitpick and, oh, you missed this little measurement, you missed that, it doesn't matter. Not when there's legs 0% longer versus legs 30% longer. That, thank God, is another, it's the reason why proportional DNA works so well, and that's because the profound differences in body proportions between all of mankind and all of Forest Giant kind. You can't fake these results. So if you still believe that the Cliff Jumper is a human out there in a bulky suit and bulky mask, jumping around on the rocks, risking 300-foot drop-offs or deeper, you're going to just have to prove that. You're going to have to find that guy. And when you do, get a good picture of him or some video, and I'm going to measure him, and he better match these body proportions. Otherwise, you got the wrong guy. All right, everybody. That is it. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, look what we've done here together. You supported me, and now we have provided the world with a simple, scientific, measurable, repeatable process, an image-based species identification that proves to the world that there is something else out there on two legs, is big and furry, and radically different from us humans in the way of its body proportions. All right. Thank you so much. All right, now for the bonus section, the vanishing aspect of this that I mentioned in the title. All right, let me back up a little. Okay, so it steps out, hops over, grabs on to the rocks over there for dear life, kind of gathers itself, gets its bearing, climbs up right there, and about right here. See that? Rocking back and forth. That right here, it seems to look up and, looks over towards whoever's filming this. Right there. And so now watch, if I keep scrubbing forward, he's still looking, And now it just looked off. And now I'm going to scrub frame by frame. And it vanishes. Going back now, one frame, it's there. The very next frame, gone. Now that's like about 1/30th of a second. Now what's interesting is that was never mentioned by the Squatch Watchers. So I'm wondering how closely the Squatch Watchers watched. And I hate to point this out, but that's the difference between me and other Bigfoot channels, is that I seem to find the things, I just keep looking and find the big, giant, obvious things that they seem to miss. So now, to make sense of why this thing disappears, I mean, I can't find where the footage cut or anything like that. So here is my best guess. This footage, or however choppy the Squatch Watchers might have rendered this footage, they may have picked less than 30 frames a second. They may have picked at 12 frames a second, which means it's really choppy, which means our cliff jumper could have looked over, seen the human, and in a bat of an eye, took off to the right. We don't see it taking off because those frames might just be missing. So anyway, or some of you, it jumped into another realm, which I can't say, I can't prove that it didn't. So there you go. You discuss that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this and the entire video. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.